Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the greatest player of all time in the red, the finisher. It's Serral. Up against his Zerg counterpart of the blue from Poland, we have Elazer in a best of 3 all Zerg showdown in the new StarCraft 2 balance patch where Elazer is going 3 hatch before pool, which is a level of reckless greed that I have to appreciate as someone who's going to calmly segue into begging you for likes and maybe even subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we? I know it's a mere magic. Yeah, I know the algorithm hates 1,486 likes on this video on this cast, and I'll cast another one, and I'll probably do it anyways. So I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. With hatcheries costing 25 less minerals and queens costing 25 more, is there a point where the Brood War style larva production from hatcheries is more valuable than having the queens for inject? I don't think we're quite at that level of making queens obsolete yet for many reasons. But I like that Elazer is trying something significantly different. Because when you're up against the best macro player in the history of the game, I think a little bit of gambling is probably worth it. He's still mining gas, which at exact 3-minute lair. And the queen's walling off using that hatchery as well. He's rushing Mutas. So while this might be a mirror matchup, it's going to be a very different game plan for both sides, as Serral already took his third. When you see someone with a third hatchery finished at the front of their base, 1, it's likely they're hiding something. 2, you're more than likely going to be able to get away with going for a third. Now, Serral doesn't know that there's a lair behind this. It could be mass Zergling. That is a perfectly valid, if very cheesy, strategy that you can do with 3 early hatches. So Serral right now, wow. Brenda, are we gonna... Somebody gonna go out and deal with that? No, you stay in the wall, Susan. Do not move. Susan! Susan! No! Serral scouts the spire the moment it starts. He sees the lair, and that little bit, that hint of doubt that he might have had as to whether this was a early all-in or really quick tech is removed. There's plenty of lings on the way, but Serral does have some banelings. He actually had him in the main, trying to bait some Zerglings in. One of the queens caught out of position, will get ripped apart. Baneling triggered, try to protect the others, actually stuck behind the baneling cocoons, which is mildly ironic. Meanwhile, the drones, mineral walking back and forth to mitigate the damage. And the Elazer streaming a few more Zerglings in, but with a few drones pulled off the line, another queen coming up. I think Serral is held with plenty of economy left over. Elazer sending those out to cover, but he letting the Zergling in. Somehow Serral always gets the Zergling in. I'm not sure how, who he's bribing, who he's paying off. Maybe just batting those beautiful eyes at the queen. You know, you can't handle it. But seeing the spire that early is absolutely devastating for Elazer, as giving Serral any extra time to prepare. He holds the lings, and notice he only starts building the spore crawlers as the mutas are coming out. He's got that timing locked down. He doesn't see a spire and say, I need spores now. No, there's no reason to kill your drones off. But by the time the mutas can be coming across the map is when his spores will be finishing up. Though the spore crawler got buffed with damage, except against mutas. Spore crawlers have a bonus to biological air, which is the nicest way of saying we don't like Zerg around these parts. But you're not allowed to do that because we don't have those modifiers in the game. But that means only Zerg air units. Here's the thing. The damage buff to the spore did not affect that, which means the spore has less HP and the same amount of damage, which buff to mutas against Zerg in a very niche scenario. Also, queens cost 25 more minerals, and hatcheries are slightly cheaper, so I would call this a marginal set of buffs to mutas. And Elazer seems to be embracing that, whereas Serral is perfectly content to sit back and poke away at the mutas, try to keep them out. It's clear the trajectory this game is heading. Elazer is going to try to keep Serral at bay. He's boxing out the Zerglings. He's going to have full control, full vision. There's nothing that Serral can do to stop his overlords from getting taken off the map. In fact, there's only one overseer left over. Queens, still ping cushioning mutas, but unlike the mutas, the queens cannot fly. You said you wouldn't bring that up! Sporecrawler is still doing plenty of damage here. The vanguard of queens continues forward. Still a lot of Zerglings on the ground as well. Elazer expanding to a 4th and a 5th base. And he's still just making mutas. Serral's going up towards high. He's got Burrow on the way. And upgrading Hydra range. Serral's going to try to build the perfect 200... Well, not perfect, but as close as he can get to 200 supply. With Hydras, Lurkers, Infestors, and I would be surprised if there weren't Vipers. Whereas Elazer is going to try to run him over with potentially multiple times the economy. Because he has total map control right now. Serral, he has 3 bases. They have similar drone counts, but right now the income, 1,000 gas per minute and rising for Elazer. He has not built an infestation pit. He can't get a... Oh, Fungal catches the mutas. The Sporecrawler gonna chunk a few more of them up. Elazer is... Oh, he's eating a lot of losses, but he can replace them. Serral is stoically standing by. Yeah, this might be a mirror matchup, but it's almost like they went through a pick-ban phase. Serral gets the mid-tier ground units, and Elazer gets the Lisks, or the Mutas, and the Lings. Which is pretty stylistically fitting for both these players. The Roaches burrow in order to avoid the Mutas. We've got Overseers on the way for Elazer, who's expanding to a 6th base, while Serral is still just on 3. As he builds more Spore Crawlers. He's got 3. He's going up to 5 spores in the main. Quite a sporist already. Roach. Burrowed Roach will spot the Mutas moving. I'm sure if he had Zerglings, if they weren't banned from him, then he'd be using that. But using the burrowed units to spot for the mutas, very helpful. The spores in the main, but that is so many mutas. There's an Infestor, the Extractors, Fungal hits, but does mostly emotional damage. The Queens are getting taken out. The Spore Crawler is taking a lot of damage as well. Transfuse is not nearly enough to sew them together. And the mutas are just kind of running over the main base. More queens coming down. Susan Burr. Okay, that works. With Spore Crawlers eating a lot of the mutas, but there's enough of them. There's still one more spore that it's like hidden by overlords. He burrows the drones. Oh, it's a bloodbath. Carnage. The mutas raining down. They kill most of the spores and several drones, but he's lost 28 mutas in 10 minutes. I challenge most of the people watching this to even manage to make that many mutas in 10 minutes. Elazer has lost them. He's still got 20 on the field. He's mining 1,600 gas per minute. That if he mines any more gas, America's just gonna invade him. That is a stupid amount of mutas per minute. And at this rate of attrition, he certainly needs it. As Serral has Vipers out, Parasitic Bomb. For all the stress that Fungal induces, the Parasitic Bomb is the real potential killing blow. It does almost enough damage to kill a single muta, alright, and anything nearby is also going to be suffering an equal amount. So between the wombo combo of Infestors and Vipers, and the best player in the world of making that combo happen, Elazer needs a combo breaker. But right now, he's building 7 more mutas. How about... Okay, I hear you. How about 7 more mutas? He's at... Oh my god, that's so much gas. He has his entire half the map. Serral is sending out burrowed roaches, and they've been... I can't believe he sees... Oh my, he killed a full energy Viper before a Parabomb. And even fighting some of the Hydras. He's got +2 flyer. Hydra's done. He sees like 8 Spore Crawlers. He's like, aim for the bushes. and it seems to be working to some extent. 38 mutas dead now. More roaches on the other side of that. Burrow move is done, and there's almost no detection. Serral doing a great job of making sure Elazer cannot concentrate on the mutas. Because this many mutas, if the only thing he had to do in the game was micro them, it's still a deadly amount that are almost impossible to kill if Elazer's paying attention. Here's the thing. Few roaches here, few roaches there, really living up to their names. And now Serral's been able to grind out 170 supply. He's lost 3 times less gas. He's got infestors and vipers. He's got some roaches in the main base, and he's going to see that Elazer doesn't even have a hive started. I don't think he has an infestation pit. He does. But he's pretty low on the tech tree. He's flying over it with the mutas. More will die. The queens hold the line. A few more mutas coming back. He starts the hive right next to the roach, which gives Serral a timer that he's been working with so well. The spore crawler's continuing. And a parabomb. Ooh, doing a lot of damage. Those mutas in autumn colors now. Spore crawlers might pick up another one. Goes for the extractor. Oh my, those spore crawlers. Oh, they do so much damage to the mutas. Believe it or not, there was a day where mutas were the most common unit for Zerg. Especially in Zerg versus Zerg. That is why the Spore Crawler does so much damage. Because every game was muta versus muta. Those days... Oh no! Oh my god. It's raining mutas. 59 mutas dead. Roaches. The hatchery may die incidentally. He cancels it. Just gonna kite the Hydras. Elazer just fighting outright. It's a bloodbath. Quite literally as the mutas rain down onto the ground. Serral goes up to a 20-something supply lead. As trading for Hydras, he still has so much income. Elazer literally has twice the bases. But are his units worth twice as much? Literally, yes. But practically, the army that Serral is building, he's slowly but surely building the Death Ball. Elazer making a Greater Spire? Is he gonna go Broodlords? Which, we truly went through a whole pick ban phase here, I guess. Like, knocks out another base. Parabomb. Muta. Oh, gonna lay down the split. Comes around for another pass. More mutas will die. I don't think there's enough energy for a parabomb. Not yet. Gotta consume some more. Consuming some of the spores. But, you know, consume got nerfed because spore crawlers have less HP. Just build like 4 Evo chambers. Actually, Serral's kind of broke. Meanwhile, Elazer has enough money to make even more mistakes. No, happy little accidents. Oh, fungal wombo combo. Parasitic bomb comes through. The mutas are melting out of the sky, pin-cushioned by the Hydralisks. Oh, a real Hydra risk from these mutas. He's still got both spellcasters, Spore Crawler, another Parabomb, tries to get the Viper, instead gets sent to the unit's lost tab. Oh my. 6 Broodlords on the way, as Elazer still can't even spend his money. He's got like 10 hatcheries out there. Roaches being cleaned up. Elazer doesn't even have any melee attack upgrades. He's going for +3 flyer. He's going for +3 flyer attack before any other ground upgrades. Or any ground upgrades, I should be clear here. Hydra Lunge is on the way. Hydra Growth Hormone, or whatever we're calling it. 11 Spine Crawlers for Elazer as he tries to solidify his defenses. The roaches. Oh. The Broodlords. They fire off their broodlings, but smoothly slips out of detection. And the Broodlords have been given away. 6 more spores. Another sporist is coming together. As Serral Parasitic Bomb still works against... Bro, get over here! Something very visceral about yanking full Broodlords out. But I think Parabomb would probably be a better choice. There's still plenty of Vipers. The Mutas. There is another Fungal. Man, get over here! Another one! Yanked into the frame. Oh no! The Mutas missed it out of the sky. He didn't notice the Parabomb. And the Vipers are just bringing one after another. The end of feudalism as the Broodlords are taken down. And Elazer, despite having still almost twice Serral's income, he's lost 3 times. 103 mutas. Elazer has lost more mutas than I've seen in the last, like, 8 series combined. The broods are yanked in. Oh my. The Spores doing great damage against them as well. There's not enough broodlings to really trip up the Hydras as they slurch forward. There's still a Roach with 4 kills and counting. And I think Serral... Oh my. He survived! In one of the most hectic games, Elazer tries to fly around the problem while Serral just locks down his bases. Elazer unable to find a way in. I appreciate the commitment. He had +3 flyer attack and +1 carapace and 10 bases. That was the end of the game for Elazer. Am I saying it was probably the best option? No, I'm not saying that. But it was certainly an interesting one. And honestly, if Serral doesn't play every part of the mid-game just right, all it takes is one bad fight, and then suddenly Elazer has literally twice as much income. And that is a near impossible situation to overcome. So Serral was treading a very thin path to victory there. But, I mean, kind of wrote the book on that, so... Wow. Game 2. Amygdala. As... Well, now I'm very interested to see what Elazer comes up with. Serral, it was pretty clear the direction he wanted to go from the start. Or at least from when that one hero Zergling scouted the Spire. I'm going to keep a close look at, see what Elazer comes up with. Honestly, I think against any other player, any other Zerg, no one uses all the spellcasters like Serral does. That is, well, look at how Elazer played. That is usually the weakest point for Zerg players, is because the spellcasters are immensely vulnerable, no matter what matchup, and rather difficult to use. It's very easy to waste your energy on the Vipers for Fungal to land, but not really be in a position you can follow it up. So, will he go for the 3 hatch again, or was that like a specialty build? Gas and pull, it looks like. Serral as well. Much more mirror this time around. It's so easy to get caught up. And also we had the experience of seeing an entire flock of mutas. Of course they all died. But Elazer exploiting the Spore Crawler health nerf to great effect. Trying to think if there are any other changes. I mean, Hydras having slightly less speed certainly doesn't help them against the mutas. Vipers are the same. And just a little bit of everything there. I want to see more mutas. You know what? Unabashedly and somewhat biased, but mutas are my favorite unit. They're the reason originally I played Zerg a lot is mutas and creep spread. Now, both those things are a little harder to come by nowadays, especially in the non-mirror matchups, for various reasons. So nice to see him make a cameo appearance, even if Zerg also has pretty devastating options against the mutas as well. Queen's pushing things away. Another very... What? 2 minutes and 50? Like, that's like a 240 lair. Elazer even faster. Whatever it is, it's not a macro play. There's the Roach Horn spotted. Serral just hanging out with those Zerglings. Will Elazer even try to wall them off this time, or does he just accept that the Zerglings will get in once speed finishes? He put his creep tumor so that way he can wall off with an Evo chamber here. But will he do it? He's gotta go now. Serral has not spotted the lair. Okay, Susan. You remember last game? Okay. Alright, learn your lesson. The Queens denying that scouting info. Serral trying... So he knows the Queens want to inject. Ah, here we are. He trades out the Queen, changing of the guard. The Queen's guard, if you would. And this time, very, very particular about which queens are moving and when. So, is this a fake? Will he cancel the speed and +1? Or is he just going to let it go through? That's my question. So Serral sees the upgrading speed. This is a perfectly valid build in this matchup. It is quite a common one. But there's the Spire behind for the Mutas. Serral's also making a bunch of Lings here. He may just attack the Queens, who do not have enough energy for Transfuse, and that could force the issue. A bunch of Zerglings. So he can cancel those upgrades, get full price back right as the Muta Den completes. He's building 3 mutas. He wants to sell this for as long as possible. Serral keeps going. Serral knows there's something going on in there. He cancels. Oh, and the Zerglings will get in. And the fact that those are... He knows exactly what's happening right now. He knows the mutas are on the way. There were roaches, maybe anticipating a Nidus. He starts Queens. Wait, he cancels the... No, he doesn't. I'm not crazy. Meanwhile, it looks like we're going to have a similar kind of trajectory to this game. Well, the Muta is clearly spotting the Overseer, which will be taken out. Serral does have those roaches, but calmly building the spores. So has a Elazer. What have we learned? What do you do different this time? He's going to get much more of a jump with the Mutas. That's a pretty big difference. But Serral also has already an incredible economy. The Mutas are later, and they're not going to hit as hard. So Serral will not be set as far back in defending them, especially now that he's fighting against the Queens. Elazer trying to leverage the Mutas with the Lings and overrun the Queens, but the fact that Serral built roaches just as a defensive tool against Elazer's roaches. Congratulations, you played yourself. Oh. And Queen's getting a little far out. But Spore Crawler not covering everything. Come back in for another. And Queen's bruised, but this is not getting that. You can't trade a Muta for 2 drones or a Queen. That's... those are not the trades you need to be making. There's a severe lack of fiduciary responsibility on the side of Elazer, and it's quite entertaining. More Mutas on the way across the map. Hunting down The Overseer in the center. The Roaches out on their own. There is no Burrow this time. The Mutas, especially with +1 attack, really helpful. Oh, Fungal! You called? What? What are you talking about, Brenda? You said fun gal. More Mutas on the way. It's just Mass Infestor. And Microbial Shroud could be a real option as well. Some Hydras on the way. A Laser. No Infestation Pit. Still going Mass Mutas. Is there an infestation? No hive started yet. As Serral trying to get enough anti-air. There's a risk right now that there's not enough anti-air to actually fight. Oh, whips out a fungal. And doesn't chain it. Serral is very conservative with his spellcasters, but Elazer, in much a completely different way, is not with his mutas. The transfuse is coming through. Serral, you'll notice, usually only uses those spellcasters when he's pretty sure he can get some damage done to follow it up. He rarely just sends something out there. A lot of players will just say, well, if I can, I should. But Serral trying to find the fungals that actually get the damage done, but doesn't quite land it. Elazer doing a little flyby there, trying to bait out some fungals, but he's at severe risk of losing a critical mass of mutas. As this time around, Serral is... He's at 74 drones. He's again locked into 3 bases. A hive starts for Elazer within a comparable time of Serral's. So, a very different angle here. He's got 25 mutas against 20 hydras. Pound for pound, though, especially with better upgrades, the mutas will win a fight. But that is why he brings the infestors in. Oh, no! Another fungal, and they're just trying to run. Which means another half dozen mutas just get pin-cushioned. Or more. Oh, 12! A full dozen. 2 half dozens, if you would. 6 more mutas on the way. A laser. 1,600 gas per minute. Oh, you can make so many mistakes with that much gas. Fungal catches a few. Four Vipers on the way. Elazer finished his hive. He's not getting... Are you serious? Okay, everybody pause. I need to think about whether an Ultraless Cavern is a good idea. And now here's the thing. Vipers and Infestors don't do anything to the Ultras. They can't be slowed. They're not vulnerable to Parabomb. You can't Neural Parasite something without much of a brain at all. I think their actual ability is called Frenzy, which means they're too angry to get Neural Parasited or slowed. On top of the fact that they're massive, which means they just have too much momentum as well, much like your mother. So, 12 more mutas on the way. The riskiest risks here for Elazer up against Serral. And again, going for the Lurker Den. If he doesn't have Lurkers by the time Ultras are on the field, well, that's the count. The Lurkers are required. Ultras will actually just completely cleave through this army if there are no Lurkers. 5 or 6 Ultras combined with the mutas, no, more than enough. But Elazer, he's not even maxed out. He's building Ultras now. He's got a bunch of minerals in the bank. The mutas, the queens are coming back to defend. But Serral's just going forward. Oh, this is gonna get weird. Oh, parasitic bombs the queens! Hold it together, Susan! I don't... Transfuse is helping out, and the parasitic bombs. Serral kept exactly the right units at home. Does he have enough energy for another parabomb? He has 1 full energy Viper. The mutas flying away. Serral's still maxed out. No! Blood for the blood god. Some misclicks there. And more overlords on the way. Roaches split off. Defensive mutas as well. He's got 2 packs of mutas, but he's losing track of at least one of them. There are 9 lurkers in production. I don't know if he saw the ultras or he just anticipated them, but one very sad flock of mutas. The ultra. Well, trundling forward. And if those lurkers hadn't just finished, this would be terrifying. But the ultra's huge. They cost as many minerals as a hatchery, so... No. That's no. That's a no. That's a no, Elazer, no! No! It's still a no. It was, but it still is too. Oh, that was an utter and unmitigated disaster. That was not good. Serral has lost 500 gas to 3,500 throughout these fights. That's obscenely effective. Ultras and mutas are the most efficient way to throw away every single last ounce of Vespene gas you own. The ultras, they have their speed, but... Does he have Hydra Lurch? Oh my. The ultra, but... Awkward. Oh no. Serral just wins. How do they fit those ultras in that? Surprise! Must have been the wind. Wait, can you attack? Do ultra cleave attacks hit burrowed units? I mean, you can hit burrowed units, but if you, like, hit a unit and there's a burrowed roach underneath, I actually don't know. Not that it's very helpful. Like, without detection. I imagine it does. The world may never know. Oh, my. Oh, the fungals. He doesn't even parasitic bomb. He's even holding on to the parabombs. Oh, my. Oh, it's not working. This is not going well. The ultra's getting eviscerated. And Serral calmly he just butchered Elazer. In the most literal sense, as the ultra's drawn and quartered. As Serral, again. Wow. Now that brings us to our anti-spoiler bonus game, where Serral faces off against Ryung. One of the oldest pro players playing since 2010. Yes, at the advanced age of 33. Yeah. Makes him one of the oldest players to still be actively playing at a high level. But he's also had some, much like Gumiho, one of the few strategy gamers we have for Terran. A lot of Terrans are all about execution, but Gumiho and Ryung, they work smarter, not harder, most of the time. Partially because they have lower APM, but also because they're willing to try new things. So I think, against Serral, Ryung has a dream. Elazer also had a dream, but that dream was full of very many dead Mutalisks. So I guess it came true. Whispers of Gold. Serral's spellcaster usage. Again, just... He forces such tough fights. Elazer... Serral just dragged enough attention away to butcher the mutas and the ultras so efficiently. Elazer multiple times tried multiple mutalist packs. And almost every single time, within a minute, one of them flew over a bunch of hydras or spore crawlers because Serral was just doing enough to keep his attention dragged away. Things happen very quickly. Mutas are some of the fastest units in the game. All right, Ryung. Show me what you got. Optimism, hopefully. These matches from Homestory Cup 26, by the way, in case you didn't check it out live or are enjoying, make sure to check out Take TV when you get the opportunity. Always amazing to see things still going on. 26. It's been 14 years. Still not as old as Ryung. I want to see... I don't think battle cruisers are the way. I mean, I won't complain, but... I think there is some potential for Hell clone builds again. Gumio showed it. Now, this might not be the ideal map for it. Wide open, with no real choke points you can work with easily. But with the Cyclone reverting to something close to its original form, as more of a long-range glass cannon, as opposed to a mid-tier, essentially a mech marine, which for some reason we tried to make it for... Actually, that's happened multiple times. If you remember back during the Proxy Factory era of Maru, every other game, especially against Protoss, but not exclusively, going reactored Proxy Factory. That didn't end up happening with the new revision. It is just interesting that it happened twice. The redesign of the Cyclone. And this is because, of course, we can't add Goliaths into the game, because a Thor is just 4 Goliaths in a trench coat. So, I have spoken. Starport on the way. 3cc. I am highly amused. I guess it makes sense, but our mirror matchup had more build variety than our non-mirror matchup. Thing is, mirror matchups can be incredibly interesting and incredibly dynamic, but also incredibly short, which is part of the reason you don't usually see them here. And another part of the reason is the algorithm and you seem to not value them as highly. Now, I'm not saying that wasn't fun, but I'm saying if you see a mirror matchup, just know it goes above and beyond because it's going against the grain here on the YouTubes. If we had a representative sample of pro games, even at the high level, for every 10 videos, there'd be 5 Protoss versus Protoss, 3 Protoss versus Terran, and then the other 2 would be Zerg. But those Zerg players that do participate in tournaments at a high level usually go far. Because they're just a cut above the rest. Hellions poking in. The Queen's politely yet firmly asking them to leave. A Roach Warren on the way. Looks like a defensive Roach Warren. Just build enough to box out early on without taking too much larva. It's kind of become the standard, is make sure you have those roaches and can still drone up behind. With Queens costing a little bit more, the early game defense budget is stretched in a lot of different directions. It's very easy to be caught with just a few too little units and take critical damage, even just to Hellions and Banshees. Ryung. Playing hard to get. Banshee. Spore Crawler not quite in position. Cloak is on the way, but not done yet. Is Serral Spore? It's going to be a little later than Cloak. But Ryung not coming back in. You time these out just barely in time to deal with the Cloak Banshees. He comes back in with Cloak, but the Spore's already done and in position to zone out the Banshee. Serral again. 2 matchups with perfect Spore timings. And remember, every time you build a Spore Crawler, you kill a drone. Or, if we're being generous, promote it. Alright? Those drones got promoted, not killed. It's different. But the point is, it's no longer mining. So every moment you have a Spore you don't need it is effectively a waste of money. Queen's eating some Banshee hits, but Spore... Not Spore. Overseer is done. On both sides of the map, gonna scout it. Just straight up bio out of Ryung. Hey guys, in the pipe, 5x5, am I right? Yeah, you go get them, Zerg. You want a piece of meat, boys? Yeah, where are we going? Well, the Changeling actually getting a very solid scout. Banshee's coming back home to defend. They're up to 73 drones. Infestation Pit and Baneling Nest on the way as he transitions more towards that late game larva intensive Lingbane. But so far, Ryung unable to slow down this ridiculous economy very much at all. Interesting that Serral's actually going for the +1 ranged attack in Carapace. Not going for melee. Even when you go for roaches, usually you go for melee in order to buff up the Zerglings and maybe ultras later on. Okay, well that was pretty obvious. Double drop heading out. Up to the north side. The Zerglings will awkwardly spot it, turn around, and, well, I've got you in my sights. Hey guys, I fancy seeing you here. Wow, that's crazy. Banshee take it out of the sky. The Ravager Roach is not enough for me. Oh, this is dangerous. Serral has already gained all his momentum. He's got 82 drones. He's going on a 5th hatch. He has 1-1 done with Baneling speed completing. Vipers in production. Ryung has been unable to keep the pressure on. And now faces quite a fully operational Zerg army. Adrenal glands on the way. The only thing we're missing is a Hydra Den. I guess an Ultralisk Cavern, but Serral kind of... He's tried it a couple times, but it clearly... The Ultras... they don't really have a role more than the Lings and Banes themselves. With their current, sizable nature. Ryung setting up. Has a healthy amount of army supply. Small Zergling counter, Banshee in position to deal with it. And that's a lot of siege tanks behind that. The Vipers are nearby. I can smell them. Saucy. But without them, dislodging this position, quite difficult. Serral likely could break it, but it would be very costly. So waiting for the Vipers, and why not? The siege tanks aren't hitting anything relevant here. And Blinding Cloud on the tanks. Make sure that they're not a threat, and the Baneling's just rolling through. Yanks a tank into the Blinding Cloud. Wow. What a play. Serral's Viper control second to absolutely none. So good they named an AoE 2 Pro after him. Winter, that's not true. Ultralisk Caverns on the way, which just seems gratuitous. But he crushes the first army. Ryung, though, has a great economy. Ooh, Serral's already queued up a massive Baneling counter. A hatchery could be gunned down. Transfuse is optimistic. They'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. The Banelings come through, already queued up. 3 SCVs and some depots bearing the brunt of it. Couple Vikings on the way for Ryung. To zone out the Vipers. Carapace. Titanus plating, rather. Sorry. Well, I guess that's Carapace. There goes the drone. This map has low gravity, amusingly. Despite not being underwater, I think we're in space or something. Unfortunately, not enough space to block out the Banelings. It's rolling to the planetary, obliterating it. The Ravager is the only anti-air here, awkwardly, which is creating a bit of an awkward scenario. Knocks it out. Almost loses a Viper, but 20 SCVs and a planetary fortress smashed. Coming back in for another round. The Vipers are already headed back home. Coming around the corner. Actually, an incredibly cost-effective fight. Serral losing a lot Near the tail end of that. Ryung coming in. Forced to load up yet again. What? What happened there? Maybe one Marine left behind? Not clear. 2 Ultras on the way. As well as 7 more Ravagers to make sure he has the ability to take out those Liberators. As building any other sort of anti-air is a costly endeavor. Even Queens at this stage are going to have a tough time. Parasitic Bomb on the Vikings. 1 quarantine. Ultra's done. And Ryung is about as close to maxed out as I think he's ever going to get. Zergling counterattack. Mostly mitigated, but the Baneling's still rolling in. Pushing him all the way back to his natural. Look at that spread. I can't believe it's not butter. Those siege tanks spread throughout the center of the map. Liberator is well behind. The Ultra out in front. Fires off a shotgun blast of corrosive bile. Wow, that was crazy. His repeat rate on his keyboard must be ridiculous. Must be impossible to type with that thing. Parasitic Bomb, Medevac, spreading it throughout. Should know better. Almost taken out. Viper's regathering energy. The Ultra's looking for the surround. Viper's having up for some Blinding Cloud, and the Ultra's out in front. Looking for an opportunity. Blinding Cloud on the back line. Another one as well. But there's more tanks where that came from. Ultra's trying to come down the ramp. A lot of bio there. The Ultra's not really able to connect. And Ryung tearing through. There's a burrowed Zergling and a Changeling blocking another base, but Ryung's army supply is comparable here. Serral's Vipers are still in the game. There's no Medevacs. They're all out of energy, and most of them out of life. These units have stimmed too far too fast. Though Serral actually has nothing to chase them with. There's a tiny moment here. 3 tanks stacked up on top of one another, though. He just flies right over. Blinding Cloud on the bio. There's no more energy on the other Viper. There's just not enough units to protect the tanks themselves. And Serral just running the table. GG! Crying face. Which, you know, fair. As Serral just runs him over. But Ryung with some solid moments. Relying on that more conventional Terran. Not even reaching for the Ghosts with their 3 supply. But maybe could have gathered enough momentum in a fight where the Vipers weren't involved. But the Vipers, as we've seen in every game today, were very much involved. So honestly, I think some of the most interesting games I've seen in a while. Those Zerg versus Zergs. We'll have to take a look at some more finely curated mirror matchups. But thank you for watching. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. I certainly enjoyed those games. And if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.